Hello everyone, the game I've got set up here is Axis and Allies North Africa, recently released. It's been around in the US a bit longer, I assume, but here in Europe it took a bit longer for it to arrive, but I've had it for a couple of months now, I suppose. But this is the first time, well, second time I actually get around to playing it. That is, um, it happens to be yesterday that I met up with a couple of friends who are also into board gaming and wargaming more in particular, and we got to play one turn, and in the second round we also got to play Germany, but then we had to call it a day. Obviously, we had to look up a couple of rules and everything. We watched lots of videos, and at least I had also finished reading the rule book. But yeah, we still found ourselves looking up a thing or two. But I have to admit that as you actually went through the order of play, it actually was a lot simpler than I feared it would be, having read some of the reactions and reviews that some people found it to be very difficult. Admittedly, it's a little bit more difficult than, say, Axis and Allies Guadalcanal or D-Day, Battle of the Bulge. But I actually don't think it's much more difficult than, or perhaps even in many ways easier than a game such as Axis and Allies Global 40. I mean, it's, well, okay, perhaps that's not a monster game, but that one I found to be pretty difficult too, with concepts such as, what's it called when you actually get to attack sea units with air units that are based adjacent to it. The name eludes me at the moment. But I found that to be a somewhat difficult concept as well for Axis and Allies, and just something you had to get used to. And same seems to be true for this game. As I said, as we went through the phases, actually most things fell into place relatively easily, and yeah, the fact that we took a long time playing it because we were also recording things. We were, just going over the game, lots of downtime speaking about other things, but it actually went pretty well. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, not the entire game, but at least for the first round, I will cover each phases done by each player, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully that turns out to be helpful for everyone here. First phase, advanced convoys for Germany. I just put a nation control marker so that you can actually see which nation is, whose turn it is. And as you can see, there are no German convoys on the board, so that phase is actually over very quickly. You don't have to do anything. This, for instance, is, well, this is where you would probably put them. This is also the one that's active because you place a control marker, and also the Italians can put their units here later. If you actually put the control marker, it means that it's active because Tripoli is actually friendly controlled. So you can also put them here. You could put them here, but since Benghazi is enemy controlled at the moment, you wouldn't be able to land them. So obviously you will probably want to land these units, the units that you actually put here during phase 2. This is a convoy. Had there been units here now, meaning land units or air units, which would be shipped on, let's say imaginary transports, because you don't actually have physical pieces for it in this game. But had they been here, you would have had to land them now in Tripoli. But there are no German units, there are no German convoys, so you can just skip that phase on the first turn of Rommel's first push, which is the scenario I've got set up here. There are two scenarios that you can actually play. Second one starts on turn 7. You start with Operation Torch, which is when the Americans come in. Now, then you requisition reinforcements, which basically means that you buy units, and you have to be very careful that in this game, for each power, units have different costs. Not always, but it definitely happens, and not just cost, but also stats. So some units attack better, some units defend better, some units such as the scout cars, the British scout cars can actually move 4 spaces, whereas I believe all the other nations can move just 3. So all of that is really important. Well, these are the units that I bought. Well, how do you calculate that? You have a certain number of starting RPs, which I suppose are basically the same as IPCs. Germany starts with 25, and then you add all German-controlled territories, in this case on the board, to that number, which gives you your total number. As you can see, there are no German-controlled territories. All the territories that are actually there are Italian controlled, and I do believe that I don't need to actually show that these supplies are Italian, because they can be used by the Germans as well. So I'll just remove them. It is important, by the way, once you place them in a convoy zone, that you do indicate who those supplies belong to, because obviously you cannot land Italian supplies on the German turn, you cannot land German supplies on the Italian turn. So that's why that's important to distinguish as long as they're in a convoy zone. Anyway, so which units did I actually buy for the Germans? And the dice next to them indicate the cost. I bought 4 infantry, which costs 12 RPs, an artillery for 4 RPs, a truck, which is the only truck the Germans can buy until around 7 or 8. A truck costs 2, at least for the Germans it does. And then this is the one that I initially missed. But 5 supplies actually cost 3. If you buy, you can buy 2 supplies, or you can split them up. Not here, but if you do split them up, you basically pay more. Let's say you want to buy, 3 supplies doesn't really make any sense, but let's just say you want to buy 4 supplies for whatever reason. Well, 2, let's just say you want to buy 2. Yeah, then you pay 2 supplies, so, and since 5 costs 3, that's actually not a good bang for your buck, but the thing is, then you could place them in different convoy zones, and this one has to stay together. If it's in the reinforcement zone, if you buy it as 5, so you do get it at a discount, but if it's sunk later on while it's being shipped in a convoy, then you lose all those 5 at once. So that's really a drawback. And I bought 2 sea mines for the Germans, which cost 2 each, and the sea mines you actually get to place right away. So that's what I'll do now, and I'll place 1 in the Tripoli convoy. So if and when the British get there, I'll be able to defend against them. You cannot place more than 1 sea mine per sea zone per player. That is per nation. So later I could place an Italian one there still. You can use them defensively or aggressively. I mean, the British could also place 1 here, for instance, and they could decide to detonate it when Italian ships move in there. Actually, they wouldn't be able to place it now because there are already units in there. You cannot place sea mines in either one of these 3 zones in 31, sea zone 31, or in zones where there's already enemy naval units. So here the British wouldn't be able to place 1. And the other one, I guess, where shall I put that one? Let's just put it over here. So this way the British will actually have to move a little bit further to get closer. You know what? I'm actually going to change around an infantry and buy a landmine and a sea mine. I want to place a sea mine here too, so that I actually have an option to stop these ships. Well, not actually stop them, but inflict some damage on them, or perhaps even destroy them, obviously. So I'm going to change my purchase a little bit. I'm going to get rid of 1 infantry and buy a sea mine and a landmine, because otherwise that 1 RP is simply lost. And of course we don't want to lose any units for no reason, or any RPs, because unlike in many other Axis and Allies games, and I actually like this, I've never liked the idea of saving up lots of money and then spending it all at once. I mean, you just in most other games, you just like in this one, you just get to you have a certain income and you need to spend it. And if you don't spend it, it's just loss. I actually like that. So that's what I'm going to do. The other sea mine I'm going to place here in Sea Zone 30, and I'll get back to you after the combat move and attack declaration, which is phase 3. So thank you for watching, and see you then.